How's it going, guys? Diggle from SGN back with another edition of Mortal Monday, and this one's going to be all about the 5 gameplay features that I want to see in Mortal Kombat 11. I did a video recently about 5 features I want in the game, but that was more about like modes and just general things I want in the game, whereas this is all about the gameplay. And before I get into it, I want to say happy birthday to my dad. Hope you enjoyed the Big Baller bag and the Big Baller cake, and yeah, hopefully my birthday will have something pretty cool as well. Now, getting into it, the first thing I want to talk about in here is X-rays. Now, I personally like X-rays. I like them more in MK9 than I did in MKX because I liked the entire art style better in MK9. I liked the colors to it. I liked the animations. Everything in MK9 was more fluid and was just better to look at. MKX still had some pretty cool X-ray moves and stuff like that, but I don't know. They were lacking a little bit. But I do want to see them make a return. But I want to see them change a little bit because people generally complain about X-ray moves because they tend to make the matches go longer. Like, if you look at online play, or tournament play in particular, you don't see a lot of X-ray moves because the meter, I guess you could say the other things in the meter are more important. It's more important to use a combo breaker than use an X-ray move. It's more frequent to use an enhanced special move than an X-ray move because it takes less meter, it's faster to use, you can use more of it, and the games just simply take less time. It's more strategic to not use the X-ray move and use the other ones in specific scenarios. Now, I do want to see the X-rays come back, like I said, because I like them. I like to see them. I like what they bring to the game, and I do like the idea of having a mega special move that you can use whenever you have a full meter. But I want to see more X-rays. Like, I don't want to see one per character because after a few hours and after you use the same character over and over again, I would say like what? After you like 20 to 30 matches with a single character, you kind of get bored of that X-ray. It's the same thing with fatalities. If, like, look at Mortal Kombat Deadly Lines, for example. You use your favorite character. I'm just going to make an example. You say Scorpion. How many times are you going to want to see that same fatality over and over again? After the first 2 hours of the game, you've already seen it probably, it's like basically a fatality every 2 minutes, more or less, on average. So if you continuously use Scorpion, you see that so many times, you've already seen it, it's already done. Which is why it's so important for the game to have multiple fatalities per character. And X-rays are pretty similar, in my opinion, with that. And I don't know if they can possibly do that, maybe have like variation, like X-rays specific for each variation of a character, which I think would be pretty cool. Or maybe have to get rid of them. I don't know. I like them, so I do hope they come, but I want to see more variety in them per character, because after a while, it gets boring to see them. And honestly, when you've been playing the game for so long, you kind of just want to get on with it. So doing an X-ray also becomes, like, it's more of a hassle than anything else. The second thing I want to talk about are fatalities. Now, like I mentioned, it's really important to have a lot of variety in terms of your fatality per character, because once you main a certain person, you pretty much only play as them, and every once in a while, you go test out a different character. Maybe if you're playing with friends, you just go have some fun using characters you don't usually play as when you're playing online or in competitive mode and stuff like that. And something that has really been bugging me, especially in MKX, MK9 had a lot of this problem too, but they had some classic fatalities, which was definitely good in terms of nostalgia. MKX's biggest problem was not every single fatality, but a vast majority of them was basically just chop somebody up in a different way. Like, you could maybe chop off a guy's head, then chop off his torso, and then slam the body in the ground, and the head comes up and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. I think that was Johnny Cage. But in general, it's pretty much just always slice him here, slice him there, slice him again, and the fatality is over. And that gets really repetitive, and it kind of just gets stupid. So I want to see not necessarily more fatalities, but better fatalities. Have more thematic fatalities per character. Like, have Scorpion not necessarily just do toasty every time, but have something that actually involves Scorpion's personality. Have something to do, even for the characters that are less popular. Aaron Black's fatality, like, as dumb as it was, the one where he shoots and the sand comes out, that was really stupid. But it at least was different from everything else, where it wasn't just him cutting people up. I want to see more stuff that is thematic to the character, that makes sense, not just with, the way they look, but also with their personality. If a character isn't as violent as the other ones, do something that's a little bit less violent. It doesn't all have to be just splatter and just for gore, basically. Have it to be stylized, have it be cool to look at, and have it be interesting, not just from a, animations point of view, just to look at, but also from the internal characteristics of that character. Not make it be superficial, but actually have it have a meaning in the lore and have it involve something to do with the character's personality. The next thing I want to mention is still pretty much in terms of like fatalities and finishing moves itself, and it is friendships. Something that I really liked about MKX was the introduction of brutalities. Now, brutalities, there were plenty of them. There were a bunch of different ones. I didn't really do them very much because I'm not very good at the game, and I just didn't really find myself being able very often to execute specific special moves continuously without being basically understood immediately by the computer or by the other player I'm playing against. So I didn't really see a lot of them playing myself. I've seen a lot of them on YouTube and stuff like that, but never really experienced it by doing it myself. And I do love brutalities. I want to see them coming back, but I think that friendships are something that's pretty interesting because we saw in Mortal Kombat 9, they didn't have animalities, they had babalities. They had Liu Kang's animality, which was just a fatality, really. But, they had fatalities and they had babalities. I would like to see something come back. I don't like Mercy very much because I think it's just kind of dumb. You just give your opponent a second opportunity to do some damage, something like that. I'm not a big fan of that, so I would say get rid of Mercies, but definitely bring back friendships. I loved friendships because they were just a completely different take and a completely different tone to everything else that was in the games that they were in. So, in my opinion, that would really make it a funny thing to see. It would be really, really interesting addition to Mortal Kombat 11. The next to last thing I want to say on here is about character variations. And yes, I do want to see character variations and not the gear system from Injustice because I liked the idea of the gear system. I like the customization possibilities there. I just don't like the execution. I didn't like it at all, to be honest with you. It's cool for the first few minutes, for the first hours or something like that. But once you realize that you aren't going to be able to unlock everything. I think it's physically impossible for you to not unlock everything. I think I saw something like that before on YouTube and on the other cast they were talking about it as well. And that's a big problem because I might not like what I'm getting. It's the same thing that you see with these loot boxes in FIFA or in Battlefield or in Battlefront, whatever. It's pretty much the same exact thing. You can get this gear, but you're not guaranteed to like what you get. And that's always a big problem. That's the biggest problem with gambling and stuff like that. That's why when I do these Z-Box unboxing or these loot crate unboxings, it's always hilarious because you never know what you're going to get. And it's the same exact thing with the video games. And that was my biggest problem with Injustice 2. So I don't want to see the gear system come back in Mortal Kombat unless, like I said in my other features video, which I will leave at the end of here. That way, if you want to check that out, you can. Unless it involves something to do with Create a Fighter. If there's Create a Fighter, then I would like to see a gear system type of thing. Whereas, if it's variations, then no. And I prefer variations because, in my opinion, it gives them a better chance of making specific characters have different play styles. For example, if my favorite character, let's just say Johnny Cage, who is my favorite character, which I'm not saying he needs to be in the game. I did a favorite characters I want to see in the game video. I'll also leave that at the end of the video if you want to check that out. Let's just say Johnny Cage, though, for instance. Let's just say maybe his first variation doesn't fit my playstyle at all. Maybe a second one fits better. I like that idea, having a bit more variety in the way certain characters play. I'm not saying every character has to have a defense variation, an offense variation. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying give them different styles, give them different play styles. That way everybody has a chance of maybe preferring one over the other and being able to main that character in different ways. That, in my opinion, is really, really interesting, and it's a lot more interesting than the gear system. And in my opinion, what they could do is, instead of having 3 variations, have 2. What they would do by having less variations is basically giving more special moves per variation, which in my opinion is really, really badass. I love what Mortal Kombat does with special moves. In my opinion, there is no fighting game that does it better. So if they can have more special moves per variation, and also if they do only 2 per character, it gives them a better chance to basically, use their time better. So instead of having to develop three basically complete different styles, have 2, which means they can invest more time in those specific things, make each variation better, make each variation more balanced with the other ones, and just make it better in general, make the game better. And in my opinion, that would be really, really badass, and definitely something that's gonna be a very, very important factor in MK11, in my opinion, if they can do the variations right and not use the gear system. And the last thing, and this is probably the thing I want to see the most in the game, it is the return of harakiris. I loved harakiris in Mortal Kombat Deception because if you're the loser, and a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, if I'm playing online or I'm playing against somebody who's actually not trash, then I'm gonna get my ass beat. So I'm gonna get fatality quite a bit. And something I really liked about the game was, even if you lose and even if you're getting tortured, then you have the opportunity to kill yourself and really steal the thunder from your opponent. And I'm not saying that that's the coolest thing in the game, it's better than fatalities and like that. I'm just saying that in a game with such a big emphasis on, online play, tournament play, and stuff like that, adding variety in terms of what happens at the end of a match is really, really cool. And harakiris is one of the best things that they can do. Friendships, I also mentioned in this video, but harakiris are even more important there because, like I said, it's something that even the loser can do. Even the loser can participate in doing something at the end of the match, and it kind of like becomes an extra competition. Let's just say I'm playing against my brother or something like that. I'm beating the fuck out of him. I destroy him like 10 matches in a row. All of a sudden, he knows that character's harakiri. Boom, he hits that shit. Why am I about to do my fatality? I'm about to destroy him once again, and then he pulls that stuff off, and it's just... it gets him a moral victory, sort of, in a way. It's like, you may have beat me in the match, but I'm the one that killed myself. I mean, it's not really like a monstrous moral victory, but it is a moral victory in its own way, in my opinion. And so let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what you think of all the things I mentioned and the features that I want to see in the game. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know which ones you want to see. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, and if you would like to, definitely subscribe to the channel and maybe even hit the notification bell. That way, every time I put out a video, you'll be notified and you'll be one click away from watching said video. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.